Hey guys, and welcome to the Women Going Big podcast. This is another episode in Women Digging Deep. So I'm really excited and thrilled to have on Therese. She is an international intuitive authenticity coach and a spiritual mentor. She draws on her innate abilities to tune into the heart truths of her clients, lovingly advising them on the path of self-discovery and self-mastery. So I don't want to take too much away from her because she is going to tell you a little bit more about herself and her journey and kind of what she's up to now. So Therese, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Krista. I'm really excited to be here today. And just a little bit about me is I have been on a journey of growth since in utero, as we all have. And throughout my life and my experiences working with different people in different aspects of life, I really started to notice that there had to be more. And of course, you know, different events happen over time where you experience loss and sadness and different things. And eventually you just start looking deeper within you. Mm-hmm. And so that's basically my shtick is I like to teach people how to learn to love and know themselves deeper than they've ever known before. And that involves a lot of introspection, intuition, meditation, journaling, whatever works for you in your meditation. And so basically that's why I call myself an authenticity coach, because more than ever on the planet, we are being called to go within and dig up the dirt.
Yeah.
And look at that gross, yucky stuff we've been burying. So these are the blessings, but that's shadow work in spirituality or in psychology. We would call those the shadow self. So the subconscious, the shadow. And so my energy is reflective for people. So I am a human mirror. So when they meet me, if they truly deeply have anything they need to clear, it will come up within our time together. And so I generally, attract people who are ready for that shift. And ready for that support. And so, so it's really exciting to help people really fall in love with themselves, because that's what we need now. We need more love.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And there's a couple of things in there that I wanted to touch on. One of those being, because this isn't a natural, it's a natural thing for us to be in touch with ourselves, but I feel like it's not a natural response. It's not something we do on our own. It takes work, I guess is one of, it takes practice to really start listening and knowing what the signs are, because I feel like a lot of people live their life on autopilot and they just keep doing what's comfortable or what they're used to or what they've been taught. And they never really take the time to figure out what they want. They just live in this yucky, stagnant, stuck place. And then that turns into behavioral issues and just all kinds of bad stuff. But can you dig a little bit deeper on kind of that and how people get to really start tuning into themselves rather than just going on autopilot?
That's an excellent question. And it's very true. We get comfortable in the uncomfortable. And the only reason why, most of the time, what I notice in behavioral is when we hit rock bottom, that's when we generally reach out for help, right? It's like chiropractic. When my back's out, that's when I go to the chiropractor. And so that's what it is. It's basically, it's like we have to face those emotions. And, last Christmas, I had 2 deaths, one in our family, and then I lost my dog. And so I've been through a couple of dogs now. And every time you go through grief, for example, it's going to bring up the collective grief since for the past. And then you have to remember, we're so layered, right? So there's, the spiritual body and the physical body, which is this tiny little nugget, you know, but then we also have past lives
Mm-hmm.
and the programming from our ancestors in our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And so naturally, to get unstuck or out of those patterns, there has to be a shift within you to want to change.
Yeah.
You have to make a choice, and then the
Mm-hmm.
universe, the divine God, whatever you want to call it, will
Yeah.
bring that support to you. Do you
Mm-hmm.
always choose the support? No, because it's scary,
Yeah.
because it's dark, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to go into those emotions that can be repressed pre-verbally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before you can even speak, we've repressed things.
Yeah.
And so that's how you discover who you truly are, is going
Mm-hmm.
into those places. And then you break the pattern because the awareness. So
Yeah.
authenticity, spelled A-W-E, I'll just share
Mm-hmm.
that quickly. Awe, I'm in awe of humans. I'm in awe
Yeah.
of people. I'm in awe of the universe, the divine, all of it. So A is awareness. So what
Mm-hmm.
do? We bring awareness to the issue, the change, the desire. And W is the wisdom. We all have that internal wisdom. Our bodies always tell us, because it stores the energy. That lower
Yeah.
back pain I had, well, that was not feeling supported.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a single
Mm-hmm.
mom. You know, I went through a divorce a couple years ago.
Mm.
Naturally, it's going to pop up in the body because of course, I'm not perfect. I mean,
Mm.
and then E is the energy.
Yeah.
If we really trust our energetic feelings, our energetic emotions, and leaving those stories behind and just going into the energy of the moment, transformation is guaranteed every single time.
Yeah. And so I love the way that you described that entire process, from awareness to wisdom to your energy, and they're all connected. And that's something, and I'm 100% honest, but like, I have only been really truly tuning into like myself and like my own energy and setting boundaries and just becoming more aware of me in the last year. I'm 27, and so I've lived on this earth for 27 years, and I've really only been, I would say, like, truly aware of myself in the last year. But what I'm getting at is that I think there's a lot of people that might be listening, or just people in general, that might have listened to what you just said, and they're like, they might have think it's like in a different language, like it's a totally different way of thinking. So what I would like to kind of go deeper on is where does it start? Like, where do you think, like you said, from the time that we're little and we're being exposed to these ideas about who we should be and what we should be, and that, like, where do we go wrong, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, where do we get messed up? Or just, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
No, it makes total sense. And the reality is, when we're born, when we're in the womb, we are taking on the programming of our mother,
Mm-hmm.
our father, and those around us. So
Yeah.
I have to back up because this is the best way that I can describe the answer.
Perfect.
So in the womb, our mother has belief systems, desires. She has her own trauma that she carries, or whatever, right? So, and then we get born, and then we go into the physical reality out of the darkness of the womb, where things grow. Darkness is the growth.
Yeah.
Then we come in, and then we are bombarded by the hearts around us, the feelings, the emotions, the belief systems, and we're indoctrinated into those systems through school, through our peers. So there's no wrong and there's no right.
Yeah.
The best way to look at this is like, we're computers. We are programmed. So our soul knows the truth. Our soul has all the wisdom. It's in us, in our physical body. So then what does our society teach us when we're born? Is to shut off our intuition.
Yeah.
Because what is marketing? It's fear-based.
Yeah.
You want to be younger, buy this product. You want to be skinnier, buy this product, because you're not enough the way you are. And we're programmed from the moment we're born, just like racism is programmed, hate is programmed. Anyway, so basically my process is deprogramming you from these belief systems that no longer serve you. And the reason why you know they're not serving you anymore is because you've gone through a transformation of some dark place, or you've had a light bulb moment where you're like, holy shit, there is so much more out there. And I'm so excited, and I'm a sponge, and I'm going to spiritually just take it all in, right? Because we all go through this phase. You said you've been going through this for a year. So this is the most exciting time for you, because you're discovering how magical, beautiful, and unique you are. And no one outside of you can tell you that.
Yeah. I just got goosebumps. Yeah.
It's because you know in your deep soul core, you're on the planet for a reason.
Yeah.
And you've been programmed to believe you're just like one little mouse on the planet working for the man. You know, but we could go into all of that other stuff, but we won't. But yeah, so it's like programming a computer. So have you had an update recently? Yes, you have. Last year you had an update. You were like, okay, this isn't working. I need to move away from this energy of this person or this experience because it's not working.
Yeah.
So once we know we're the creator, it all changes. And
I think that's such a big realization. And I know personally that was a big realization for me, because like knowing that I was in control of like my own mindset, my own energy. And so I'm an empath to an extent. And like I wasn't giving it the proper care that I needed. I was never taught how to set boundaries. I don't want to say I was always taught to say yes, but that's basically how I was raised, was to just say yes to everything. And that's how I went through everything as a child, and then growing up into young adulthood. I think it's just so common for people to just, like I said, get into that routine of just saying yes and not standing up for themselves. And I think we can agree that the first step is realizing it. Like you said, you have to make a choice that, okay, this is where I am, and I see that obviously what I'm doing and where I'm at isn't working. But then, like, I can only imagine, and I'm just thankful that I've been able to figure it out kind of on my own. But for somebody else that has just had that aha moment, that they're like, wow, this sucks. Like, I'm living a life that's not my own, and I'm in a skin that I don't feel like is my own, and I don't know what to do. How can you speak to that? What would be the first step for them to kind of to move forward, to get past that?
Well, basically, once again, it's that awareness.
Yeah.
I'm aware. I've said yes my whole life because that's how my mother was taught to be loved.
Yeah.
Love came from always doing for others. Otherwise, if I say no, I'm not worthy of that love. So it's that conditioning again. So you're like, you've hit the bottom. You're like, okay, this isn't working. I'm attracting the same man over and over. I'm dating the same woman over and over, but a different body, different type.
Yeah.
It's that awareness. Number one. Once you're aware of it, then things will shift. It just will naturally happen. Yeah. But then it comes down to, are you going to ask for help or are you going to do it on your own? And I'm a firm believer that there are things that we can absolutely do things on our own. There's no doubt about it, because we're our own healer, our own guide. However, when you're stuck, when you feel stuck, or when you feel you're not moving forward, or you feel you need support, it's about being vulnerable and asking for it. Yeah. And that's where people struggle, is the vulnerability.
And I agree with that 100% too. And it's all about, like you said, it's about that vulnerability and that kind of uncomfortability. Like, people don't want to be uncomfortable. People will run away from fear, vulnerability, and being uncomfortable if it means that they don't have to expose themselves, or how they feel, like, God forbid. And I think that's a big step for some people. Like you said, it's putting yourself out there and asking for help, which we're not trained to do. You know, we're not usually, and I know for a fact that I was taught to do things on my own. That's just how I was raised. Which brings me to my next kind of talking point, but what would be your recommendation, or how do you see us as humans and women breaking this cycle of not trusting ourselves and not following our intuition and, you know, not passing that on to the next generation?
Well, once again, it comes back to the same answer.
Circle. Mm-hmm.
It's cyclical, right? So it's genetics, it's past lives, it's this lifetime. And to really change the cycle, you have to want to change.
Yeah.
You can like lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
So if you feel you need to switch what you're doing, the autopilot's not working, because everything's cyclical, it's like you're going to keep going through the same pattern. Now, breaking patterns in relationships is one of the hardest things you can do. It takes two people committed, two people wanting to change.
Yeah.
On your own, the best thing to do is ask for help. What do you feel guided with? Do you want a shamanic session? Do you want to work with a coach for 6 months? Do you want to take a course on getting deeper into your intuition? Your body will get excited about whatever that is. And then there's the Western medicine way, right? Maybe you do want to see a counselor or a psychiatrist. But whatever that is, it's up to you to choose it. And once you choose it, things always shift. Once you make that decision and that distinction, then things shift, and then you can start to do the work. Because like you said, it's hard to go where it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
However, we are very comfortable not feeling good already.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want to clear it away, or do you want to just keep pushing it? And like I was saying, like this time on the planet, all the closets are opening, all the skeletons are coming out, the mold in the basement's been exposed.
Yeah.
Every family, everybody is going through major spiritual shift. And so to me, that's an exciting thing for women and men, because now we're forced to do the work.
Yeah.
We really are. And so we have two ways to go. We can either do the work, or we can continue down the path of self-destruction and self-sabotage, which naturally is going to affect generational.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's one thing too that, you know, I just want to touch on too, is the collective energy right now. And because when COVID started, I know it affected like so many people, like it's not even funny. But for me personally, like I went through a bout of depression, and that was honestly what ended season 1 of the first podcast of Women Going Big, because I just lost all energy and motivation, and I just didn't have what the podcast deserved, you know, and having these interviews. But I think what got me out of it was realizing, that I wasn't alone, and that it wasn't necessarily me that was affected. Like I still had money coming in, like I have a place to live, I was eating, like I wasn't affected like that. But just knowing that the world was in chaos doesn't bode well for those of us that, you know, feel everything. So for anybody that's listening out there that, you know, may have been struggling with the same thing, it's so funny, because now I'm hearing your answers before I even ask the question. But I think becoming aware is the very first step, like you said. But when people want to do some inner work, like some serious inner searching, what are some tools that you would recommend? I mean, finding help, yes. But what are some things that people can do either on their own or even with somebody else that can kind of help start breaking down themselves, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And depression is becoming, it's like one of the most common things that people are going through, right?
Yeah.
And what is depression?
Mm-hmm.
Depressed emotion.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So once you go into what emotion you have repressed, depressed, and it's like, it is collective. What are we living in? We're living in a world where fear mongering is at its best. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
So naturally, if we don't have the tools to deal with what we're dealing with, we're not, either because the economic stress is massive. It's massive.
Yeah.
And people are dying by the multi millions of starvation, yet we have 0.006% deaths of COVID.
I know.
There's like, deaths does not equal having it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're feeling depressed, you need some tools? Absolutely. Number one, sit in silence in that depression. Talk to it.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with yourself. And then number two is journaling. Journaling is so powerful. I have to say it is life-changing. Write down your dreams, because the dreaming time is crazy. There's multiple timelines going on right now.
Yeah.
No psychic that I know, and I know lots, know what the future holds, but we all have timelines that we're seeing.
Yeah.
So really focus on you. I mean, there's lots of moms out there that are single, they have multiple children, they're trying to work full time, they're trying to do what's best for their kids. And do they have a moment for themselves? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But they can sit down and write. You can write.
Yeah.
That has to be their inner meditation. Now, for someone single in their 20s who's really discovering who they are, absolutely find like-minded people in your community. Really, like, I feel we need it more than ever. So find the ladies, the men, the groups, the meditations, the yoga studio, whatever that is for you. It could be artistic, it could be CrossFit, I don't know. What is your jam?
Yeah.
Because one of the other things that I noticed with the depression is we're not moving it out of our bodies energetically, because we're not moving our bodies. So we go into the meditation and the journaling, but guess what? If you're not moving and sweating and detoxifying all the junk food we're eating at home through the depression, then that energy will stay stuck. So walking, running, jogging, yoga, whatever. So moving the body, writing about your feelings, and tuning in and talking to yourself in silent time. So, because you're going to get more information as you're sitting alone.
Yeah.
So for me, those are the three main go-tos, especially when I'm feeling depression, which I don't often. And I have had little teeny bitty tastes of it this last 6 months. And it's just a reminder, okay, I'm depressing something.
Yeah. And I think that, first of all, those tips are very, very powerful. And like, even for myself, like, I still struggle with journaling. So I'm kind of always on a journey to do that more and to be better at it, better at practicing it anyway. And I just, so many people just accept it for what it is and don't think that there's a way out. And this is something that, like, just for the podcast itself, like, I want this to be a platform where women can come that feel stuck, that aren't sure what the next step is, that know that there's something bigger for them out there, but they're not sure how to get it. And so I think that those tips perfectly, explain and, give actionable steps for somebody that might be listening. And then as we kind of wrap up the episode, is there anything else that you want our listeners to know about us as people and kind of what we're going through? And just how to be better for yourself and how to be better to yourself?
Sure. Number one thing is you are not alone, ladies.
Yeah.
You are not alone. You're doing the best you can with what you got. And you got to love on yourself because you are driving that bus and you have to love every bit of yourself, every age of yourself. We forget we are babies. We are 2, we are 4, we are 10, we are 20. And those ladies inside of you need the love.
Yeah.
So you're not alone. There are guides around us. There are angels. We have our ancestors. Call them in. Miracles happen. Honestly, call them in. They need permission. They need permission to come into your life to help you. So call them in. When you are down and out, you just pray and you just ask whatever that is that you need. And then you can take action, right? Because it is about taking intentional action. Because intention is just so powerful. So you're not alone. You are supported. You are divinely guided. It's just that you've lost touch with that innate magic that is you. You are a light and you have to shine that light bright despite what anyone says.
I love that. And I think that's a great way to wrap up the episode. So I know I kind of checked out your website. You've got a lot of awesome things going on. But if people want to get in touch with you and follow you on social media, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Well, I've kind of taken a break from social media the past couple of years. So I'm getting back on the wagon. But if you want to email me, my email's here at theresenadeau@gmail.com. You can go to my website, theresenadeau.com. That's easy. And message me through Messenger. I'm absolutely available anytime. If you have questions, you want to connect and see if we can work together. I do offer some empowerment programs. And so if you're interested in getting more intuitive, or you have a business and you really want to delve into your spirituality in your business, that is a really exciting place to go as well.
That's awesome. Well, Therese, I really, really appreciate you being on the show today. I love having these conversations about energy and inner work and spirituality and all the things that make us us. Obviously, because I'm kind of on the same journey. And I think the more people and the more women that we can encourage to do the same, the more powerful we will be as a whole. So, and everybody listening out there, thanks for tuning in today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode because I know I sure did. And if you guys are listening on Anchor, you can find all the episodes on womengoingbig.com as well. And this is Krista, your host, and I am signing us off. So until we talk next time, you guys have a great day. Bye.